Good morning, CSL Palm Desert and beyond.
Morning.
It's
So great to be here with everybody.
it's another 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock.
Oh,
Everything
Dr. Joe, I just want to commend you on all of these 10 o'clock things. I mean, Dr. Joe is so busy scheduling the weeks, 2 weeks ahead of time. Who do I get? Who's available? What, so you are very creative, Dr. Joe, I have to say.
This journey has been quite the journey, actually.
Yeah.
So, in
Yeah.
more ways than one.
Yes.
So, listen, it's funny. You and I were talking just before we went live here, and go ahead and let's talk about what you were talking about. Bring it up what you were talking about, and then I'm going to tell you what I found between that in that 2-minute break.
Oh, okay. So what I wanted to talk about is that we are in this world, but we are not of this world, which means, yes, we are here, but we have this higher consciousness that we are creating our world based on our beliefs. So what are our beliefs? And our beliefs change. Our beliefs change. And so I just thought, I want us to not get caught up in the fear. And so I kind of was thinking about talking about that.
Yeah, and I think as things loosen up, and what I'm watching, states around the different states are loosening up different parameters of social gatherings and so on and so forth. But what I'm watching is I'm trying to observe them scientifically and not emotionally.
Okay.
Which I think when you say be of this world, be in this world, or be
in this world,
not of this world. Not allowing ourselves to get wrapped up in the emotions of the discord, because it's still going on. It's still very, very
back and forth, right?
Yes.
Between different, there are different camps.
Yeah.
And
social media
Oh.
and what goes on the TV and everything. So I've really, again, I'm continuing to distance myself from all of the controversy and the emotion around it. And I'm just choosing to look at things statistically and scientifically as best we can with the information we have. And even then, people question the stats and the statistics, but that's all I feel comfortable in judging the world by at this point. Because the rest of it's just a lot of emotion and talking. And so to be in this world, I think it's really important that at this point, we really do take another step back. So I swear to God, if we step back any further, we're going to fall off the back door. But we continue to take a step back from the emotional component of this and try as much as we can to just grasp onto the idea that things are moving in the right direction.
Right.
Things are moving in the right direction, period. That things continue to move in the right direction.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think some of the best advice you've given all of us is to really cut down on our watching the news and even going on Facebook, spending a lot of time on Facebook. You'll hear from both sides and we have to honor in the sense that everybody's reality is based on their beliefs, what they want to believe. And what are you feeding your subconscious mind with? Are you feeding it with fear, anger? Why does that serve us? That does not serve us. Yes, we want to be informed, but let's not be inundated with either side, and I think you're right. If I hear something that resonates with me, I heard somebody talking about, taking certain supplements to boost my immunity. That made sense to me. And so I was already taking one vitamin. Now I added something else. And so it's, I was thinking about it, Dr. Joe, I was thinking about our beliefs, and everybody's belief is what works for them. All right. So that's like, I was raised in Catholicism, and that worked for me for a certain period. But then there was something within my soul that says, I need something different. I need something more. And I went searching. Now, that doesn't make Catholicism wrong or people that practice that religion. That is what resonates with them. This is what resonates with me. And so when we get really firm in our beliefs, we have to honor our beliefs, but we also have to honor the beliefs of others. So while I'm not worried about catching this coronavirus. I said, no, it's not going to be part of my reality. I still want to honor those people that maybe have fears, or I could be carrying it and not affecting me. I don't want to then maybe put somebody in harm's way. That's kind of how I look at it.
Well, it's interesting how you said what you said, um, that everybody's choosing their own way to get through this. And so between in that break that we had just before that we began our talk, I went and got our Science of Mind book, and I looked at today's topic. And it's funny, today's topic is whatever gets you through the night. Hello. And I just want to read parts of this. By the way, this is a Q&A as well. So if you have questions or any comments that you'd like to make, Dr. Laura and I, we would love to see them in the chat area. It gives us another opportunity to share things with you. So, but let me read some of the stuff that was written in this. You want me to share this?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Albert Einstein said, the measure of intelligence is the ability to change.
Ooh.
So I kind of like that. I think we're going to all have to really tune up the old intellect and intelligence on this whole idea of what it's like moving forward. Anyway, that the Science Mind quote was this: through the continual emergence of the creative principle, any last finality proves to be but the beginning of a new creative series. Now, interestingly enough, this was probably, I don't know, written months before all of this stuff, months before all of this stuff happened. But it's interesting that was the particular topic for today, that through the continual emergence of the creative principle, any last finality proves to be but the beginning of a new creative series. What have we been talking about? I mean, for 10 weeks now. Has it been 10 weeks? It feels like it's been
a lifetime, I think.
Yeah, it feels like a long time. But to me, it's incredibly telling that this happened to be on this day. Then I want to continue reading this. David Alt, who was on the show Monday, I think, he is the one who's writing the passages in each day. But he wrote this, and I want to share this because I think it's pretty interesting. Early in my spiritual studies, my fellow students and I often asked our teacher for advice on the right spiritual practice. Her reply was, whatever gets you through the night. She urged us to remain open and fluid in allowing those practices, whether traditional or esoteric, to find us as much as we sought them. To this day, I'm deeply grateful to have been encouraged to explore in such permissive depth and breadth. Perhaps you've traveled long and winding roads to find your spiritual path and practice. Many people I've met in the centers where I've ministered came because it supported their current curiosities or belief. As the God of their understanding evolved, the more fluid the choice of community and practice it became. And with this deepening exists a valuable opportunity, a blessing we have excited. I was judgmental of the religion of my youth, unskilled in crediting that path with helping me better formulate my critical thinking and refining my understanding that to grow requires us to outgrow. I became familiar with the term divine discontent, the eternal propulsion that heightens our urging for greater vistas beyond the familiar. I learned to love my past and embrace the belief that the path to truth is inclusive. Ernest Holmes encouraged, and this is the clincher. What we must avoid is the confusion which arises from a belief in final revelations, from the belief that all truth is at last discovered, or that some one person or single system or thought has delivered the last word. There are no finalities in any science, any philosophy, or any religion. The concept of no finalities prompts us to remain open at the top. It gives us infinite choices to love and consciously partner with whatever gets us through the mysterious and uncertainties of our collective nights.
Oh, I love that.
Could you possibly be any more timely? I mean,
No.
I looked at something, wow. And then the affirmation for the day is, whatever I am is perfect, wherever I am is perfect. I honor and embrace my ever-evolving path. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. And it's like, it's the, and that's why I think it's so important not to get caught up in the news and the like Facebook or whatever, because we don't want other people's negativity infecting our minds and our beliefs.
I want to share with people who are tuning in today. And I have no idea how many people are in, but we usually get about between 40 and 60, sometimes up to 100.
Right.
people who live in the Palm Desert area or the Coachella Valley about, the talks that have been occurring among the staff, practitioners, volunteers, those people who are engaged in the process of being leaders of the church. That we actually, I want to kind of share this, and our board of trustees. We're sort of looking at calling this a Independence Day Easter. We are probably not going to open until July, the first weekend in July. And one of the reasons that even if they begin to open, the logistics behind social distancing in a house of worship like ours is very challenging. The risks are very high. And statistically, I've been watching what is happening in these states where churches are opening and then now closing back up again because someone got sick. I would never be able to live with myself if we opened too early, yielded to that pressure, and someone got sick from our center. That would be.
I agree.
I feel like everything I've worked at in my entire ministry would be thrown out in that moment of not being abundantly cautious. So I just want to let people know that it looks like we're probably going to be going for the first weekend in July. And I know that's another week, but
Another month.
Another week, another month. I'm very grateful that we've had this opportunity to do all the stuff that we've done online, and that we have been able to service our congregants as best we can given the conditions. But I just wanted to put that out there for everybody. Start getting used to that idea that we are going to have we talked about having a delayed Easter celebration, a resurrection, and that would happen on the Independence Day. So what better way to celebrate those two particular things at one time in the 1st of July? By then, hopefully not only the requirements, but things will have changed a little bit. We'll have a better picture of what we can do. So I wanted to bring that up to everybody and to start putting it out there. And I want to have a daily conversation about it. So word starts getting around, and we'll put it out in e-blasts and other forms that it's time for us to start. We're looking ahead.
Right. We're going to be resurrecting, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a resurrection on July 4th.
And I think it's important that everyone knows that we've had full support of the board,
yes,
and members, and our practitioners, our ministers, and everyone, the staff, every single person I've talked with who's been on this journey with us has been very supportive of that idea, that to do anything prematurely would be to not act in our best interest. Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, getting back to our topic, whatever gets you through the night. So right now, I really think that this is, wait, we have a question. How is Charles? He's fine. He'll be back on Monday. Actually, I think he's doing this thing called U class on Monday and Friday of next week. And then, Monday and Friday. So he'll be back. So thank you, Don. He will be back. Right. So let's talk about this. I want to dive back into this without getting on. Okay, now I want to get out of COVID.
Okay.
My mind is that we've got to start clicking out of COVID.
I agree.
And just into the human being, the spiritual being, creating something beyond the other side of this. So now I think we need to start looking at and start really actively discussing creative ideas and ways to motivate ourselves to get past our current situation, the current,
right.
situation we find ourselves in.
Well, and I think that with all that you've been doing with these 10 o'clock gatherings of different sorts, that's a step in that direction. And I really want to tell people to please make sure that they share this content with other people when it goes on YouTube or whatever. Subscribe and share this, because this is, we want to, what you're doing, Dr. Joe, is raising the consciousness from being in fear into the possibilities. And what are the possibilities? And I think this will be a great time too, when we do get back, that to even engage the congregation in maybe some kind of a gathering where we say, okay, where do we go now? What ideas have you come up with? You've been in, what works, and what would you like to have more of? And what, even more importantly, what do you want to be involved in? We are all part of this collective humanity, and we each play a part, and everybody brings a piece of the puzzle. And so I think we're open to that. We've always been open to that. I'm just thinking that now people will be even more engaged, wanting to even have a deeper connection and involvement on so many different levels. And I think what we're doing too is we're looking more, going more in the community. We're seeing from the people that are watching, that there are people out there that are so looking for what we have.
Absolutely. It's been very rewarding to see and to receive all the uh, emails and comments that we've been receiving about how the center has shown up and how people have actually connected with other people.
Mm.
Um, it's another way that I think our community is proving that we're a spiritual community. A lot of people, we're not like traditional old churches where we have um, many old systems that are in play. We have a very independent thinking, independent congregation, and people come and go quite easily. And so sometimes it is hard to create a sense of community. But what I've noticed is that there has been a real significant number of people who bonded together in this. And I think it's actually going to create a different foundation structure going forward because we've had all this change. So I'm very hopeful and very optimistic about the other side of all of this, because I truly believe that we're going to come out as a stronger community. Even though we may have had a couple knocks along the way, I think by the end of this year, when everyone's
There's going to be more of this, I think,
a lot
so
more of that, I
much.
think people are going to be a lot more engaged and grateful
Right.
for what's happening.
And I think it's been really great for our congregation to get to know our new ministerial, soon to be ministers, the students who have
Right.
been studying, because there's more now of a connection. There's more of a feeling of, oh, I know these people now, and I'm going to look to them for leadership. And I think I commend you for being so brilliant. Before we even brought on Dr. Charles or Reverend Charles, oh, I just elevated him. Uh, Reverend Charles, he'll love that, into the center, you already had kind of the same blueprint that we had when we started when Dr. Tom was ready to retire, and how he brought you in and mentored you and so forth. And I think for our congregation, from my perspective, this is giving them the sense of fluidity too, and the sense of it's not going to all fall apart. It's not
No,
going to fall apart. And
quite the opposite, actually. It
absolutely, I
feels
think there's
it
a new
feels
energy,
very
right?
much of a 180 around that.
Mhm.
Um, very much. The complete opposite of falling apart, actually.
Yes, no, absolutely. And if you even look with what's going on, it's really given us this sense of creativity. How, with us doing these Zooms with Jeff's help and so forth, is how do we still stay connected, and how our congregation can still feel connected. And something I wanted to mention when you were talking about how our independent our congregants are, and they flow in and out, and we're not the kind of center where we track down people. Why aren't you there? We don't guilt them into not being there on Sunday. And yet there are people from old faiths that feel like, well, you didn't even notice I was gone. Why didn't you ask me? And so I just want to tell people, please reach out to us if you're going through something. We are your spiritual community, but we don't know if you don't tell us, and we'll do what we can and at least be there for you. So I just think that's important. I don't want anybody to ever feel that we're ignoring them or we don't care, or and I know that people in the past have said, oh, well, I've heard this because I do the campaign. I help a lot with the yearly campaign, and you just want the money, that's all. And I hope you realize from this, that is not at all what we are about. And so change that belief. change that belief and know that we are here to support you, but the reciprocity goes both ways. And we know that you're supporting us the
Yeah,
best.
interestingly enough, I haven't heard from anyone in our congregation that has had the virus or been
No,
hospitalized. No
I
one's
have.
reported it. So if you're out there and you're hearing it, or you know someone within our congregation, no one has reported back to us. So I'm just assuming that everyone's okay. I think I'm the only one who had it so
Yeah,
far.
right.
Train are the
Or
only,
that knows it, or
yeah,
at least
yeah,
knows it. They may have had it,
who
don't
actually
know.
had a piece of paper that said, yeah, you have this. So,
Right.
um, you know, anyway, a couple comments real quick. I love this. Has been great. Dr. Laura, do you know when you're going to do another book study?
I don't know. I'm looking. I was going to do that Joe Dispenza Becoming Superhuman, but it is so dense. I don't know if that's so I'm still looking. If you have ideas of books, send them to me, please, and we'll look at them, and then and then we'll get together. If there's some, I'll look through them, and what resonates and I think will resonate, I will do one. But right now I haven't quite found the book that I want to go for next.
Another one, the journey with y'all has been extremely heartwarming, has gotten me through my darkest days. 10 a.m. is the highlight of my day. Thank you so
Oh,
much. Well, whoever you are, you're welcome. And thank you for tuning in. I hope you're sharing this with your friends too and family. Next one is, are you going to continue to do 10 o'clock offerings after the center opens? Put it this way, I think it's our intention to figure out a way to do something. I'm not sure if it's going to be at a 10 o'clock hour or what we will do. Um, there's a lot of work that goes into this, a lot of work, and to be truthful, a lot of expense that goes into this. And so maintaining this is going to have to be a commitment by those people who are joining us online to actively support the center in ways over and above what they've done in the past if they want to have this kind of offering. So I think you will see, and we've been open to the conversation, having them about expanding into technology, and maybe even actually creating a little studio at the center where we would have classes and also be able to have Zoom attendance, where you could get several people from all over the country and all over the world attending classes at the same time. I think that's definitely up for discussion, but it is our intention to keep a real strong presence, whether it is done at a specific time every single day, or whether it is an offering that we have over a specific period of time is yet to be flushed out. Um,
right. Well, because here too, the reality of it is that when people get back to
right.
their going to work and doing their things, there's not going to probably be as much attention to this because they're going to be busy with life. So we have to weigh all those things for sure.
And we're definitely going to do something.
Yeah.
Definitely, there will be some. We will have some content and good content like this consistently. Just the time of that may be changing because not everybody, and look, let's face it, people have doctor's appointments, so on and so forth. So it's really great that we've had this, we've had the experience doing it. We know what it feels like. We know what it costs to provide this service. So I think it's definitely out there. So please, yes, stay with that. Let's see, here we go. This is such a profound global spiritual shakedown and reconfiguration. Much is falling away and much is surfacing in new form. It is difficult and I grieve for the loss and suffering, but I'm excited about the prospects emerging. Thank you for being here through this profound transition. And Eric, well, thank you, Eric. I'm not sure which Eric you are, but okay. But you know what's interesting about this, Eric, is that hopefully you logged in yesterday. I don't know if you saw yesterday's broadcast with Gail Morton, and we did an entire hour about grieving the loss that occurs during a pandemic like this. Not just when you lose someone, but when you lose, the things that we've been losing in our freedoms to do and go and have life the way we used to have it, but the grieving process that we went through. So if you haven't done so already, I would strongly encourage you to go back to our our YouTube channel, Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert, subscribe to that, get in and go to the archives and check out what happened yesterday, because what happened yesterday I thought was truly magical. I think Gail did a great job. Thank you, staff practitioners, for all you do. Thank you to Ernest Holmes, How to Use the Science of Mind? Question mark on that. I'm not
Maybe
sure.
she was thinking about the book study.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Got it.
That's a
Uh,
Mhm.
I live in another state and there are no and there are no Center for Spiritual Livings within an hour and a half drive. Is there a chance you will be offering classes by website after the church? Yeah, after the church. Yeah, we actually have done that in the past.
Mhm.
If you've watched our Sunday services, we live stream our Sunday services. We'll go back to doing the live stream instead of how we have to do it now. Uh, but then there are classes that we definitely do. We live stream and offer those things, and there's that in and of itself, I think, is going to be um, a really great possibility long term. I think we're going to see some changes in how we do that. All right, we're getting
Right.
several. Oh, Eric Morgan said, "Hi, Eric." That's who my Eric is.
Yes,
Hi.
sir.
Good
Hi.
for you. Eric, go check that out. You'll like that a lot. Oh, these are book suggestions. Living
Yes,
without
I
fear.
think so.
So Don's
All
giving
right,
us
well,
book
those are good.
suggestions. Everybody's engaged
I
today.
know, that's awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate that. I love my book studies. I really enjoy them because they're different. I don't have you read a chapter or two on your own and then we discuss it. We actually read it word by word together and then stop and then discuss it. So it really goes in deep. So I love the ideas. I learn a lot from the other participants. I don't even want to call them students because we're all teachers. And so thank you for these. I'll look into that. I'm just trying to find something that is not, I haven't been really doing Ernest Holmes, although we did do a book study, Dale, we did one years ago where we read the original textbook. And I really like the original. I like the way it flows. And anyway, so who knows? I don't know yet. I'll see what spirit guides me to, but keep the suggestions coming.
So I have to tell you, I just had a flashback when you said that. We read that aloud in class, and I have this all the time. I was one of those students that when the teacher was going to call on someone to read like a paragraph or something like that, I would sit in complete fear of being called on because I
Really?
hated reading out loud. And
Mhm.
even today, when I grab something and have to read it out loud, I immediately flash back to Mrs. Johnson's first grade class and that tea tiny little desk and that tea tiny chair.
I
And
see Dick, see Dick run.
yeah, and I'm thinking, oh my God, she's going to call on me. And I would sit there and have all this internal pressure and this anxiety over reading out loud. And every once in a while, like when I stutter over a word or I mess it up, I immediately go back to Mrs. Johnson's class. It's so funny how that is a trigger that goes right back there. And I'm like, and if anyway, it
But
just
I don't, if they don't want to read, they can pass. They don't have to read. But there's something, Joe, about seeing it and hearing it and then discussing it that is so
yeah,
powerful.
it
Yeah.
is, it is, but it's just so funny that I flash back to that.
Right. Right.
Another thing too that happened this week is that we have our intern practitioners, our first year
Well,
students just complete. They're done, right? They're done.
next week is our last week, which is really nothing much. It was supposed to be a party, but you know, we'll figure it out.
Zoom
Right.
call. Um, anyway, we had a conference call with all the practitioners and interns yesterday, and it was really exciting because not only do we have new ministerial students moving into leadership, they have obviously they have another exam to be called ministers that they'll be moving into, but we also have intern practitioners that are moving into a practitioner category as interns, and there's a whole group of them as well. So there's, I think, 8 of them.
We have 9.
9.
There are 9 of them, and they are not that they're not all amazing, but there's something very special. They're very deep. They're wanting to be of service so much.
Yeah.
It's been really fun for Dale and I to really have the deep questions that they ask and really taking this serious and looking forward to being of service.
Yeah, it was interesting. Just to shed a little insight for those people that are with us, you know, you've been able to look at the ministerial students and see what they're doing. And now these intern practitioners, they talked about how they actually came into the science of mind and how long they've been around and what has drawn them into becoming a practitioner. And every one of their intentions for becoming a practitioner they were very heartwarming to me. They touched my heart. And I think that this is going to be an excellent group of new leaders. Again, we are in the process of revitalizing and reinvigorating that particular, the practitioner core, the ministerial group. So it's an exciting time. It's a
It is.
very exciting time at our
And
center.
and Dr. Joe, what was interesting, last week's lesson was spiritual leadership.
Yeah,
It was all about spiritual leadership. So it was, and they are so looking forward to being back. And I know that when we do get back, we'll have a little ceremony where they get their intern sashes so that they're identifiable. And it could be a great opportunity for our congregation to be more involved with them too.
absolutely. So Laura, I know you've been doing your book study by Zoom call, but
Yeah.
you haven't always done that. It's always been
No, it's always been live. This was the first time that I've ever done it by Zoom, and it worked out fine. I mean, it was just as good. So I might continue that. I don't know. But I love being with everybody, and then because then you have like a little break, there's a little more social involvement in it. But no, this was the first time I did it, and it worked out fine.
because I'm wondering, and I'm just wondering out loud, and maybe people can chime in on this. It'd be really nice if we could figure out a way to create Zoom, a Zoom experience in a live classroom. Um,
Yeah, I don't know how we do that, Joe, because they won't be, it would almost, I was thinking about it.
I know the ministerial students have been doing it for their ministerial training because half of our people were here in Palm Desert, and
And
so
they
they
said,
were
well, then
already.
we'll have to look into that. Then that would be great if we could do
Yeah,
it that way.
I think it would require a different format, but I think it's actually doable because I think, and I would ask people who are not local, chime in here in the comment section. Would you be willing to, pay tuition and go to a class online and a Zoom class where you could still ask the questions and be a participant? Obviously, we would have to
Right.
technology.
It's got to be different than the live stream because, and Dr. Joe had mentioned at our board meeting that he was thinking that we'll do some classes, this way. And then one of the board members said, but I love being in the class, I love that interchange. And so I don't know, I'm sure our genius, Jeff Harrison, will figure out something for us and show us how we can do it, because like my book studies are usually in the evening, so there's a lot of people that don't like to drive at night that would probably love to participate, and I can do this on a Wednesday and Thursday during the day if
Right.
when we go back and stuff. So
Yeah,
there
I know a
we'll,
lot of
we'll
people.
figure it
I
out.
know a lot of people that do it. We just have to figure out how to. We have to invest in the technology to do that.
Right.
That'll happen. So whatever gets us through the night, that's what we're doing. That's what we're talking about today.
That's
That's what we're talking. We're talking about the future of what things look like beyond, on the other side of all of this stuff. Because we can get fixated on the numbers and everything, and I've got to disengage from that and start planning what things look like. Because I know that when we plant the seeds in our mind and in our hearts, then it begins to take root, and we'll see things begin to manifest. So I need. In fact, what I'm asking for is those of you joining us, and all of our board members and all of our practitioners and ministers to start planting the seed of what's going to happen in terms of the larger picture with our center on the other side of this.
right.
There are other people saying, let us know. People would do a Zoom class. Let me know. I'll do a Zoom class. Good. That's great to hear. I'm glad to hear that.
Right.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so I want to read one more thing because one more thing popped off of this. In my meetings this week for the Science of Mind, or this month for the Science of Mind textbook. Where'd it go? Here it is, right here. Commitment is an act, not a word. I love that. Next thing.
Mm-hmm.
What the world needs is spiritual conviction followed by spiritual experience. One of Dr. Holmes' quotes. I think right now, it's an essential. It's an essential Ernest Holmes. What the world needs is a spiritual conviction followed by a spiritual experience. That people start accumulating and really reflecting on all the things that we have done in the past years, the things we've done while we've been locked into this situation, but then also begin to say, look, I have all this spiritual conviction, and now how do I put it into a context that will create a spiritual experience? And I guess that's where we're going to start asking all of our people that have been watching this and that have been part of our center. We do need to have a visioning session. We need to say, okay, what is this new transformation going to look like within our own community? I think it's,
And Dr. Joe, I really, we have great staff, we have ministers, practitioners, but I really would love to see participation from our congregation, that this is their vision and they're not we're not creating a vision for, you, Dr. Joe, to do, you, Dr. Laura, but this is what I want to be as a congregant a part of. And, because I've been studying quantum physics in some of my classes, and your physical world bends to what your mind focuses on. So if we set that vision and everybody participates, there's more power to it to create it.
we got a couple comments. Never met Jeff Harrison. Grateful for, I would like to see a picture sometime to connect the visual to the name. Well, the next time Jeff is facilitating, I think his assistant Trey is facilitating
Right.
with us today. But the next time Jeff is on, we will pop him on the screen, and he will not like that, but we'll do that anyways to him. All right, this comes from my brother-in-law, Rick. Oh my God, Rick, you're listening. Wow, okay. Life feels lighter now that we've opened up with caution in West Virginia. There is less fear and more confidence in living with our now situation. So I think that's actually going to be part of this. I think I look forward to that, the loosening up of things, slowly and methodically and very cautiously. And when we do that, not fearing what's going to happen, but just starting to enjoy the things that we took for granted for so long. I mean, one of the things that you walk away with, and I've been saying this since the get-go, is a greater sense of gratitude.
Yes.
I'm not very grateful about one thing though.
What's that?
Well, I went to the doctor yesterday, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I had to go to the doctor yesterday, and they weighed me in.
Oh, yeah. I got that problem. I didn't need to go to the doctor for that.
And I know my shirts have been a little tight lately, and my shorts have been a little tight lately. But I walked in, and he looked at me. He said, "Well, God, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud." He said, 9 pounds. Are we going for 19? Is it like COVID-19? Are you going for the 19-pound weight gain? He said, "Joe, come on, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I never knew how to cook, and now we're cooking at home." And I said, he said, "But that doesn't mean you have to eat more." I said, "But it's so exciting." Last night I made with I'll just share a little personal moment. I know some of you got. Last night I made eggplant. I have an air fryer, and I made this eggplant, like eggplant parmesan. I made that, and we dipped it in the marinara sauce. I'm thinking, oh my God. I mean, here I'm a person whose macaroni and cheese was like a push, right? Poor Carly. She never learned how to cook because we just never we just ate out. And now I'm actually in the process, actively engaged in cooking every night, creating something. Of course, it's now, and even though I'm working out, I went and I took my mother's treadmill. I stole it from her, not stole it. I borrowed it back. I borrowed her treadmill, and we have weights and we work out. And I'm like, man, I'm pounding down the food, man. Anyway, so I can't believe I shared that with you, but.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rick. Yes, as things loosen up, I think that the now is going to be really important to live with less fear.
Absolutely.
And also to really be grateful. I can't wait to see my family. I can't wait to see and spend more time with my friends. And in the summertime out here in the desert, there's always gatherings every weekend of our friends, and there'd be 30, 40, 50 of us, and we're not going to be able to do that right now, but I look forward to the day when we can do it, because I don't want to take it for granted. I mean, those things are very special. It's very.
Well, last weekend, my son and his wife and my 2 granddaughters did come down, and I know, but it was like, and so I just said, everything is fine. They're healthy. I'm healthy, and we just had a wonderful time, and it was just so wonderful. And although my youngest granddaughter was freaking out, just, she's, because of the being quarantined, she's 5 months old this week. She hasn't really been out of the house.
Oh
And
yeah.
all of a sudden she's in my place with strange people. Are you dropping me off? I mean, she was freaking out for the first 2 days. And then by the end, she would come to me and she was happy. But you don't realize how it affects the children too, being in just one environment, not having been exposed to anything else.
And yet, you know what? It's interesting how resilient they are, because I remember when 9/11 happened, Carly was in Montessori. So she must have been either 4 or 5 years old.
Uh-huh.
And I remember how it impacted us. But then for her new normal was post 9/11. So she never knew what that meant because she was so young. But you do have to wonder how how tiny minds are
Absorb.
processing this stuff.
Right. And what are,
I know my adult mind when I'm in Ralph's,
uh-huh.
I just sit and I just shake my head. I'm like, oh my God, we're all walking around with masks. This just feels so weird. It just feels
Right.
like I'm
It's
in,
something you would see in Asia, right? But not here in our
or in
country,
some movie
right?
somewhere or some alternate universe, but
Right.
not here. I mean, and so, and then to see the fact that you can't see someone's expression,
Right.
you know, that's going to be that's going to be one of the biggest changes. That if we open when we open up, and but if we have to open up and masks are required, um, and I have to wear a mask, and you all have to wear a mask,
We're not going to know who anybody is.
I'm not going to know who anybody is, but all I'm going to see, if you close your eyes, if you blink, I'm going to think you're asleep because I won't see your facial features. And I didn't realize how much we rely on from this area right here to
Right.
actually see each other and watch each other's expressions. And so it's very, I just wonder what will be on the other side of this for, the kids who, you know, they didn't get to play with their friends. They didn't get to go to school. The kids that didn't get to graduate or go to prom and all those
Oh,
things. My heart breaks for those. And I also think, okay, you know, this is a character building thing that God only knows this generation is going to be so aware of, and as they grow older as adults, maybe not in the short term, but as they grow older as adults, they're going to be very aware about what that means to have their health compromised or safety compromised, and what can happen if we don't pay attention to it. Pay attention to Mother Earth and the globe here.
well,
So
I know I was talking to my sons about, wow, can you imagine if this had happened when you were in high school? Because my house was the party house. I mean, all the kids would gather at my house. And I said, I don't know how I would have, because I don't think my kids would have listened. I
yeah,
think they would have still had all their friends over and so forth. So it's amazing. And then these people, these young adults that are in college looking or going into college looking forward to this great college dorm experience.
they're
And
back with their parents.
yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
No.
So anyway. No, no, trying to get away
Oh,
from
God.
you.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? No.
So
And
I am
I,
very blessed with where I am in my life right now. I am so grateful.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would
So
be that would be a challenge. Parenting right now would, to all you parents out there,
blessings and
blessings
much
to you,
love.
and I hope you get it by the case.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. I want to wrap up with this idea though. I think at this time in our evolution in this process, I think it's kind of important that we find really compassionate ways to listen to one another, because what I kind of see in the world going on is that that's not happening in some particular cases, which is causing great deals of conflict. One of the affirmations that I saw that I appreciated this week was, I listen compassionately, I am heard compassionately. That we
Oh,
listen with compassion, and we know that when we do that, we are heard with a sense of compassion, because as we ebb and flow in and out of this life experience, I have to make sure that I'm stepping up to being a compassionate listener. Not a, and I say a compassionate listener, not a compassionate responder, because sometimes people just want to talk. It's just, they just want to be able to get things off their chest, and you don't have to be the fixer. You just have to be the listener. In fact, you fix people they fix themselves by you just listening and giving them an open ear. So I think it's another important component as we move through this, to really listen to people and meet them where they are. I think
yes,
that is another essential component, because not everybody is in the same space. I still know people who have not left their house. I mean,
yes.
I still know people who are relying, they're feeling very vulnerable. And so they're still getting food delivered. They have not. It's been 10 weeks now. and they have not left their homes. And so we have this, and then we have other people that are other degrees, totally opposite ends. And we have to show compassion for all sides of this thing. And beyond this, we have to be compassionate to everyone's experience, because everyone is experiencing this at some different level. So for some people, like for Carly, though, seriously, our own daughter, her life did not change except because she's in training in Portland and Seattle for a pilot. She's almost done, but this entire experience for her, things kept moving. She was in an essential business, so she kept going to work. She kept going into training. The only thing that changed is there wasn't a restaurant, or she couldn't eat with people, congregate afterwards. She would go back, grab some food, and go back to her hotel room. That was her only real shift in what happened for her world. So her world is very different than those people who've been literally, at home under complete lockdown. So we need to make sure that we're showing great compassion for two different experiences, two totally opposite experiences.
Right.
And Trey's getting ready to go back to work. Trey's getting ready to go back to work. He flies a week from Monday. So he hasn't flown since end of March. And he's going back to work on Monday, a week from Monday. And he's got, 9 days of flying in the month of June. And, it's like, as we begin to, like Rick said, we go back to a new normal, we go back to this now situation. What is it going to feel like? How can we be compassionate with people that are, afraid to begin to integrate back into the old practices? We have to meet people where they are and don't feel like we need to push anyone or belittle them or, no, I'll say it again. There is no right answer here. The only right answer is what the individual feels is right. Right. And that's why when people talk about opening the center, and, I know I'm going to get some criticism for holding it, out a little further, but I was the first one to shut down, and I'm so glad we did. God only knows if we'd had one more week together, that could have been the week that I was carrying it and I didn't know it, because I came down with it a couple of weeks later. So who knows what that looks like? Who knows what that looks like? So I would just say, let's all go easy on each other and be compassionate listeners and meet people where they are, and just allow them the space to move in whatever direction they feel comfortable moving without us, coming down on them. And I know I'm guilty of that with some people in my own life. I need to really be careful of that.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I was sharing with Dr. Joe before we got out. We have a deposition in our office today, and there's going to be 6-7 people in this office. So there will not be there's just no way they can be social distancing. And yet I know. And I said, that's why I'm not taking that deposition. And because I don't believe I'll get it, but I don't want to then be a carrier and infect somebody else. Yeah, and so we have to be conscious of that. Right. And so, I mean, how awful. We were sharing this at our board meeting. We would feel terrible if we opened too soon and then a bunch of our congregants got ill, and it was traced back. Even if one that got traced back to our center, we don't want that. We don't want that.
Because one affects many.
Right.
Their families, their friends, everything.
It's a ripple effect. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've lost a flight attendant that I used to work with. He, died from this. Right. A young guy, only 57. My age, 57. And so, no, every one of those things has a family attached to it. And that's why I really, when we start talking about the future of what we're going to do as a community, go ahead. I don't mind taking the heat, because I know if one person were to get sick, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. I would just be crazy. Exactly. My heart would break, and I would be in a lot of emotional pain if we were where someone, actually,
I think that really hard part, Dr. Joe, it's going to be challenging when we do open up, is we're such huggers. Yeah. We are such huggers. Yeah. And that's your family. You want to hug them. And that's going to be interesting to see how we handle it. I know.
I didn't even think of those things.
I know.
All the nuances of it. anyway, never
that
mind.
we just
We're
took
not going
for
there.
granted in the past,
You
that
know what?
now
We're going to do what we have to do. Whatever gets us through the night, whatever gets
that's
us
right.
through that experience, we're just going to do it. Again, I go back to that, my favorite phrase that I coined a long time ago that I actually have a plaque that someone made, nothing is forever. It's just for now.
Just for now. That's
Just
right.
for now. And
And
I,
this moment creates the next moment. So focus on the fear, the expand, not the fear, the love. Get rid of the fear. Focus on the love and the peace and gratitude. Gratitude that you are part of something magnificent that's unfolding,
yeah,
yet to be known.
be a compassionate participant at this point too.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
everybody just kind of, we have to kumbaya ourselves through this. I
That's
don't
right.
want everybody, anyway, we'll figure all that out.
Yes.
So anyway, I think that's about it for the day. I know I'm pretty good. It's been a busy week. Thank you everybody for joining us this week. We've got meditation tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning, service of course at 10 o'clock on Sunday. Next week, I have an all-star lineup that I left in the other room.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It looked really, I don't remember, but it was really good.
I know. I'm thinking,
Oh, you had Jamie, is he Jamie
Lou is our artist for this week.
this week for
uh,
Sunday?
for Sunday, and then Charles is doing a class on Tuesday or Monday and Friday. Oh, is it Joyce? Yeah, Joyce Bulifant.
Oh, is she
Mary
good?
Tyler Moore. I think
didn't remember
Mary
that.
Tyler Moore. I think she's my guest. If not on Tuesday, the following Tuesday. Anyway, check out the announcements.
Check
They'll
it,
be on
right.
there on Sunday. We've got something great going every single day. The Sensational Six, of course, have their Wednesdays. 10 o'clock in the morning, magic time, 10 o'clock. We try to keep it consistent and very easy to remember. If you can do jazz hands, you can actually make that happen. The Indian practice of joining palms and namaste is a wonderful way to greet. Yeah, we've done that. Yeah, we
We did that last Sunday, I think. The last Sunday we were
did.
together.
We did. We were doing that, and it's going to be, I can't wait to see how the universe works all this out.
That's
Again,
right.
thank you for joining us. If you can support us financially, we greatly appreciate it. We're trying to keep everything moving in the air, and what it requires is everyone to participate and be an active giver in our, if you're a receiver of these programs and this information, we hope you're an active giver and you're able to donate back to the center, because every penny counts right now.
Right. And reciprocity. It's the law of reciprocity.
And we have a reality that collections are down quite a bit. So if we can call on you to continue to share your good, that we greatly appreciate it. So let's just close our eyes for a moment as we close out this Friday. And we move into Memorial Day weekend, a time to remember all those who served in our country, who made the ultimate sacrifice of their lives for our country and for our freedoms. We also honor those people who are in service to our country right now. And we also honor all those first responders and frontline people who are working in their jobs, moving what is happening in the world today, from the grocery store clerk to the emergency room doctor to those people who are volunteering in any capacity to distribute food. We just surround all of those people who are working toward the greater good at this moment. And we celebrate them along with all those who've been in their armed services and their families. And we just say, thank you, beloved presence, for this time. Thank you for allowing us to experience each other, to share our ideas, and to just have a format and a forum for us to exchange the possibilities that continue to exist in this unfolding of something wonderful. So as it does unfold, we do know that something wonderful is coming from this, something good is coming from this. And as we move and progress our way through this, we know that we are definitely divinely guided, sustained, and maintained by that presence that continues to guide, sustain, and maintain. For this, we're so very grateful. We release this to the law. We let it be so, and so it is.
And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock for meditation, and then we'll see you Sunday. Have a great weekend.